Hey everyone! You're listening to Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two long-distance best friends recap romance novels, scene by scene, because romance is the best thing on the planet. Let's start this week with a Patreon shout-out. Tia R., you are Melusina, a European legendary creature that is similar to a mermaid. Half beautiful woman, half beautiful fish or serpent. She is the daughter of a fairy queen, and some say she even has wings. Most stories with Melusina involve her growing fins and wings to fly from oath-breaking men, and sometimes taking revenge. Basically living her life as her most powerful and independent self. You're a take-no-shit kind of mythological mermaid, and an original badass. Make sure to check out our Patreon for tons of bonus episodes, gifts, and more. That's patreon.com/Heaving Bosoms podcast. You make a huge difference in our lives with your support, and we do things like recap Crash Landing on you. And now, we've got a book that's way overdue. It's Nalini Singh's Psy-Changeling #1, Slave to Sensation. We're back in Werv land, y'all. Here we go. Oh, hi, Erin.
Hello, Melody.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. Mel just got telling me about how her daughter's new thing is to shrug at her and go, big mess?
Big mess?
You were just saying that you're a big mess today, and I just can't get out of my head a toddler looking at her mom and be like, big mess? So funny.
Yep, that's what happens.
Did she say it metaphorically or just in terms of messes that you have to clean up with a paper towel?
Is that a question?
Yeah, like, does she know it metaphorically? Can she look at us human women that are wrapped in an electric blanket right now and be like, big mass?
No, usually it's like, hey, Valerie, you can run around pantsless because we're potty training, but, like, don't pee on the floor. Don't pee on pole. Big mess? Like, yes, Shami, it's a big mess. Earlier today, I was like, okay,
it's my new thing. I can't wait to do it. Erin, not right motion. Big mess.
Big mess? It's so funny.
Erin, not go to meeting. Big mess. Can't wait.
That is what it's like.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
Oh my gosh. You want to know? Okay, so levels of me being a big giant mess. I thought I had it together. And I was like, Here I am. I'm down in the basement. I'm printing shit early. And then I look at what was printed ages ago. And my printer thought that all of my notes should be done on 4x6 cards. So like, it's just this teeny tiny little thing. And all the font is so small. On this regular goddamn sheet of paper, so that Erin had to wait for me to print my notes again.
But you guys looking at it is so funny. It's so stupid looking. Like
really
her page
dumb.
of notes on this really small area of the page. Oh, you know what a big mess I am is...
Big mess.
I texted Melody earlier today and I said, we can't do video today. I have to set a boundary. It's the first boundary I've ever set in my life. Here it is. I can't go on video today because I couldn't even think about taking the time to shower. And I also know that if I'm going to wear electric blanket, my favorite outfit, that I need an outlet. And I need both of the outlets in this room. I need one for lamp so that I look pretty. And then I need other one for computer so that I can do podcasts.
Oh.
And then that doesn't leave an outlet for my favorite outfit, which is the electric blanket. No, my Loom Cube, everything plugs into the computer. I need a separate lamp.
All right,
in addition to my Loom Cube.
We're going to get you a big giant surge protector. 10 outlets. I'm telling you. That's what we're going to do for you.
We said on the podcast like a few weeks ago, why hasn't anyone ever invented a battery-operated electric blanket? And the response was overwhelming that they have, and I'm an idiot. So maybe they ought to just give me that.
I mean, but what if you don't charge it, Erin? I don't know.
Here's the thing, Melody. I won't. I won't charge it. Exactly. I won't charge it. And here's one more. I'll get it wet. I don't know how.
You will.
I've gotten this one wet several times, but I think that like the battery one probably has a battery pack that you're not supposed to get.
I'm certain of it.
I'm thinking that it's a more fragile operation than the plug-in one.
That's what I would assume.
I've spilled so much beverages on this thing.
I mean, it's a blanket.
And also sauces. It's just covered in sauces, like various curries and soys and... Anyways.
All right.
You ready to talk about the Psys? The Psys and the Changelings?
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited to talk about the Psys and the Changelings.
Mel texted me this week and said that we are no longer a Heaving Bosoms podcast. We are now a Psy-Changeling podcast.
We're all Psy all the time.
So you're with me on calling it Psy?
Not forever, but I do like it for right now.
Okay.
No, so, okay. Couple of thoughts before we start. First, I need everybody to know that I have purposefully put off reading this series because I knew it was a series I was going to give my soul to. I was just like, the conditions are perfect. I've heard enough good feedback about it that I'm gonna just like go into the rabbit hole and it's gonna be over. And I've never had a time where it's like super conducive because I forgot over hiatus. I would have gone down a Psy-Changeling. Oh, gosh.
Rabbit hole. Yeah.
Next hiatus.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Next hiatus.
Second thought is I'm extra super duper mad at HBO now for redoing the True Blood situation instead of just buying Psy-Changeling. Buy Psy-Changeling, HBO.
Buy those Psy-Changeling. They fucked up the werepanthers in True Blood anyway. We got werepanthers right here. You can panther up if you want.
It would be so beautiful, don't you think?
Yeah, it would be really good.
Oh my gosh.
Because imagine, like, it would be kind of like what's the one with Jimmy Simpson and the robots? Jimmy Simpson's Robots Adventures.
That sounds exactly it.
Queen Sophie's in there, and they're the robots, and they've got souls.
No idea what you're talking about.
Okay. Well, it's, that HBO show, and it looked really nice, and I feel like it could look like that show. That's what I'm saying.
Definitely. Okay, have you seen that movie with Kristen Stewart and Nicholas Hoult? It's called Equals.
No.
It was a 2015 sci-fi...
Westworld!
Yep. Oh, of course, Westworld. Yeah. I guess I just don't know who Jimmy Simpson is. So
he's like an actor I'm obsessed with for no reason.
Was he the Man in Black?
No. I've never even seen the show. I don't know what he plays. I just know he's in it. He probably plays like a good guy or a bad guy or a McPoyle. That's usually what his thing is. Okay. Anyways, what were you saying about your Kristen Stewart and Nicholas Hoult adventure?
Oh, he's the young Man in Black. All right. So this is a weird obsession, Erin. Very niche obsession. Jimmy Simpson.
Love him. It's very strange. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. No, so the movie Equals is they call it a sci-fi romance. I would not say it's a romance because I don't consider it to be a happy ending, but it's basically about the Psy, where like they have this society and they take away all emotion and like emotion is bad, and two people who are essentially Saschas from this book meet each other and they figure out that they can both feel. And so the whole movie is them like having this huge relationship and then trying. It's very Romeo and Juliet meets the Psy meets like, a sci-fi movie.
Okay.
Because it's not a happy ending. They're together, but like it's not a happy ending. So that's what happens. Anyway,
he was also in that one where he was like a zombie. Ooh. Remember that?
No.
It was like a zombie love story.
Ooh.
I think that had an HEA. I don't remember. Yeah. Anyway, we're books. We're books. We're not a movies. We're not movies. We're a books.
We're all books. Yeah.
We're sometimes movies, also television.
Every once in a while.
But today we're books. Today we're very clearly books because we're not doing anything else very well.
Right. So, so we're talking about Slave to Sensation, which is the first Psy-Changeling book by Nalini Singh, and I'm so excited about it. So should we just get started?
Yes.
Okay. So we've got Sascha. She's a Psy.
Sascha.
Sascha. S-A-S-C-H-A.
C-H-A. There's a C in there for no kind of reason.
Yeah.
Just slithering around in the middle of the name. Sascha.
And we live in a world where there are three distinct communities. There's the humans, the changelings, and the Psy. And the Psy are basically humans, except they have like a bunch of mind powers, right? So there's some who are like telekinesis, other ones that can do medical looks into your body, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And all of them
but they
can
all
telepath.
they're all a little bit,
yeah,
telepaths.
right.
And they have a network, and their minds are all linked up in a network. And if they unlink from the network, they die.
They fucking die.
They're a hive mind.
That's right. And 100 years ago, they did this thing called the silence because Psys were killing everybody.
Right.
They were just killers. They were doing all the killing.
Yes.
And so they were like, you know what we should do? We should take away the rage. We should take away the emotion. And they realized that they couldn't just take away rage, so they had to take away everything. Rage, confusion, nope.
Right.
Rage, jealousy, love, all of it.
And I had a big problem with this at the beginning of the book because they were specifically mad about, like,
Serial killers.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's not why those guys do that.
Right.
That's not that. I guess if you got rid of, like, jealousy and some stuff, you get rid of probably a lot of murders, greed, jealousy,
yeah, but
and
it
stuff.
was specifically serial killing.
They were specifically mad about serial killers, so they decided to get rid of empathy.
Right.
And Aaron, on page 2, was a little confused and mad about that. And then I realized that's the thesis of the book.
It is.
Just wait, Aaron. I was like,
Nalini
book
Singh
wrong.
Nalini Singh knows what she's doing.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. So we're now 100 years later, and they basically, like, nobody has any memory of what it was like.
We didn't talk about the other two. So then there's also changelings.
Mm-hmm.
But you said there's 3 things. They're sitting there. They're like, Melody, what's the other 2?
No,
There's the changelings, and they are werves. Shifter werves. And then there's the humans.
Which
and
are
those
just
ones
humans.
are just humans, and they're trash, and we don't even hear about them at all in the book. They're woof.
They basically don't exist. They're basically all the street people.
There's like a footnote in one chapter that, like, you can fuck one if you want. But, like, that's pretty much it.
It's true. Okay. So we meet Sascha in chapter 1. She's in a meeting with her mom. They're going over some construction plans or whatever. They're going to have a meeting with a changeling because they want to make a changeling development of homes. And they want changelings to build it. Yes, Aaron.
I have to say, the first 30% of this book, I was bored to tears.
I was not.
The idea is, like, Sascha and her mom, Nikita, want to, like, invest in a housing thing where, like, changelings will live. And then, like, the changelings wants to get in on the size business deals. And it's just Sascha going all around on, like, meetings about, like, what's the houses going to look like? And
Can you use this material? Who's going to design?
Yeah, what's the deal going to be with the cuts and the millions and I was just like, I did not read this book for real estate deals. Like, real estate is not what gets me into a good shifter book. So just so you know, there's a lot of
other stuff that happens.
Yeah, and the stakes seemed so low. I was like, oh no, the real estate deal might go through. Like, you know, but don't worry, it picks up.
Yeah,
it picks up.
So they're going to go into this meeting with the changelings because they want a changeling to build the development in order for other changelings to want to live there because they have no empathy. They can't put themselves in changeling shoes to try to, like, do things that changelings will like.
Well, and there's all these secrets, too. Like, they don't trust each other, the Psys and the changelings,
right.
So they don't know what they would like because they don't know anything about their culture.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing that you need to know about Sascha is that she's broken. She's like, I'm broken. I feel this is bad. I've known about it my whole life. I've been protecting myself my whole life. I am a defective one. And if they find out that I feel, they're going to, quote unquote, rehabilitate me, which is to basically give her a telepathic lobotomy.
Right.
And turn her into, like, a janitor drone or something.
There's, like, a council and they rule the world and her mom's on it. And if they found out, they would murder her dead. Yeah,
she's a cardinal. She's got this night sky
eye
thing
there's so much
going
world
on.
building.
There's so much world. It's
times.
so much world. I love it. Anyways, she's supposed to be super powerful, but she's been told her whole life that, like, her powers just never manifested. And she's, like, breaking down now. She has been able to, like, keep it together in the past, but lately it's started to become, like, physical manifestations. Like, she'll start trembling or she'll, you know, have muscle spasms and stuff like that because She's just like trying to bottle every single thing that she's feeling all the time. Okay. So now we go into this meeting and we meet Lucas Hunter.
He's hot.
Hunter.
He's a hot werewolf.
No, he's not. He's a werepanther, but yes.
He's a werepanther.
Yeah.
But it's the same.
And he's got 3 slash mark scars on his face, and it's a hot. And he's got this dark hair that hits his shoulders and stuff. And he's a big, of course, and he is a magnetic, and he purrs sex at everybody. So during this meeting, he can tell there's something different about her. She smells a little bit different. She's using and picking up really, really small body language that normally Psy don't, because they're essentially like they present as robots almost. And he just wants to bone her, and that's a weird.
Yeah.
He's never felt that before. Not for a Psy.
No. Well, and she also recognizes him as a boneable entity.
Yeah, completely.
As well.
Yeah. She's like, oh no, I've always been able to keep it under wraps, but like, God, he's just the boneablest.
Would you like to know what he looks like?
Yeah, Aaron, I do.
Well over 6 feet tall.
Of course.
He was built like the fighting machine he was in the wild. Pure, lean muscle and tensile strength. His black hair brushed his shoulders, but there was nothing soft about it. Instead, it hinted at an unrestrained passion and the dark hunger of the leopard below the skin.
Wowza.
She had no doubt that she was in the presence of a predator. And then she sees the slashes on his skin.
And she wants to touch him, and that's a weird, too.
Yeah, she does. That's
because
a weird.
Psy also don't
They
touch.
don't touch anybody.
Yeah.
No.
They have
Which is
no
also
need for
bing
any
boom bong.
stimuli. What's up?
That's how you make a serial killer, is you don't touch a baby.
You gotta touch those babies.
You gotta touch those babies,
you gotta touch them up. You gotta massage their little tiny bodies. They need to feel human skin on their skins.
Massage is one of those words. Like, don't do like a deep tissue massage on a baby. No. I feel like their bones are soft.
No, a lady named Helga is not going to stand on my baby, Aaron. No,
that's what I think about.
You tiny little circles with your hands, and then you look. When you bicycle your feet, you like run your thumbs up and down the soles of their feet. They're babies. They're
touch those babies.
Touch them, guys.
Touch those babies so they won't be serial killers.
There you go.
All right,
that's science. Okay. That
is science, though. That's science that we know. We know that science.
Okay. So there's like all this electricity between them. So then we find out why Lucas is actually there, because he could really give a shit about this thing. Like, it's going to make him money, whatever, but he has lots of monies. He's a king. So he is there because there is a serial killer, and they know the serial killer is a Psy. And the serial killer is going especially after really vibrant changeling women. It's now on like the 7th woman that they've pieced together, and it's hit his pack. 6 months ago, one of his pack mates, he's the alpha, so one of his pack was murderlated by a Psy, and they know that because they showed up just in time to get the sickly metallic scent of what a Psy smells like. And and so he wants to get in on the ground floor and figure out what the fuck they're doing, and if they know.
Also, the Psy Council rules the world over all 3 of the species of creatures on the world. And so, they've tried to report this and been like, hey, investigate this, please. And, the Psy Council keeps putting it down. So they know that the council is somehow in on it or is protecting the serial killer.
Right.
And because Sascha's mom is on the council, they're going to try to, get to her via Sascha.
That's right. So, isn't Lucas so excited when they're like, we want immediate approval privileges for any changes that are going to be made. And as a result, I'm going to send Sascha to your place, and she's going to, work in the office next door to you. And he's like, ba-ba-da-ba, excellent!
Yeah.
And then he, does some really hot negotiations and stuff. It doesn't
Calls
even
her darling and stuff.
He does do that.
And she's very I do not register flirtatious word.
Yeah, and meanwhile, inside, she's so hot that she has to go up into her room and literally hump the floor.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this scene. Let's little break it down.
We gotta go step by step.
I lost my mind at this.
I loved
She
it.
goes upstairs and she's like, I knew you would love it. I was concerned for our heroine.
I mean, same.
She lists all the things that had been she had been pushing down during the meeting, all of the lust and fear and desires and
fear, all the hotness.
Then she shakes out her hair.
Oh, yeah. Because she's got really curly, beautiful dark hair that she always has to put into a severe braid so that she can be Psy.
Guess who's gonna snarl it?
Oh, he's gonna snarl it.
So, then she talks about how her boobs hurt.
No, listen.
She's so
first she goes into her room. She puts up some shields. She puts some mental shields.
Yeah, mental shields
around the
Those
room.
are important.
They are
for her
survival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because her horniness is off the chain crazy.
Off the chain.
This is like Toxic Desires level weird.
It is. So she sits down on the floor and then she's like, oh, my titties hurt so badly. And then all of a sudden, she's just literally
moments ago, I said she goes into the room and her boobs hurt. And then you stopped me to be like, she goes into the room and her titties hurt so bad.
To talk about the shields.
Was mine inaccurate? Okay, all right.
It was just the shields, man. Take over. Talk about how much her titties hurt. Tell us everything. Is it her nipples specifically, or is it like the outside? Is it like a heat area, like in her areola? What kind is it, Erin?
You're grossing
Why don't you just tell the listener?
I don't.
Listener needs to know.
I'm sorry.
How
you shamed
hurt,
me.
Erin.
I'm sorry. I'm shamed. I'm sorry you did it. I'm shamed.
Don't be ashamed.
Then
Your face
takes
is
off
very red, though.
She takes off her clothes and then she humps the floor, and it's very strange. It was strange for poor Erin, who didn't understand what was going on. And this was on page 12.
Yes, it's brilliant. So she has no outlet for any of this. She doesn't even know, like, how to experience lust, let alone make herself get off, you know? Like, she's been bottling this her whole life. And so this poor thing, she does hump that floor. And then, she gets up, and normally her eyes look like a starry sky. Mm-hmm. And right now, they're all black. Mm-hmm. And she says that only happens when a cardinal is expelling an immense amount of psychic power, which is not possible because she's incredibly weak.
All she's doing is moaning and humping her carpet. So there's no way that's extreme psychic power.
No, but think about it. Actually, so I had, from jump, I had this theory that the reason she was called weak is because she has to spend so much energy building up her shields that she has no energy for everything else. So she's trying to bar that much cum feelings from getting out. Like, of course, that's expending a metric fuck ton of psychic energy. Anyways, her eyes are all black. And she's like, this is weird. I'm such a weak cardinal. I'm so weak. And then he invites her to a breakfast meeting via the comms. Yeah. And he does it sexily.
Yeah, he does it in a sexy way. And yeah, can I just say, like, I've never been into, like, a cat man. I don't like a cat man. Mm-hmm. I like a dog man, not a cat man.
Predator cat.
But I was okay with this particular cat man.
Oh, yeah.
I was fine.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so now it's a bait and switch, you guys. She gets there. Mm-hmm. There's no fucking breakfast meeting. There never was. Instead, he's going to take her out to the building site because he wants to get her alone. He wants to probe.
But first he talks to his buddy who once had sex with a Psy and said that it was like a block of concrete and that if he ever had sex with a Psy, it would probably freeze his dick off because they're so cold.
So cold. Which begs the question, Dorian, I forget your name, Dorian. Mm-hmm. How's your dick? What's that dick like, you know?
How's that dick? I imagine it would be like a vampire.
No, but they have a resting, like they have a regular body temperature. No, but it is important.
But I'm just saying.
Dorian particularly is the brother of the girl in the pack that got killed 6 months ago. Yeah. So he's a big anguish. He's a big grief. It's a lot. A big rage, too. So he takes her out to the building site, and she's trying so hard to keep it together that she realizes she's just been silent for a full 40 minutes. Which is like, wow, lady.
Oh, hey, HBs. I don't know if you've heard, but we have a Patreon. For as little as $5 a month, you get over 150 bonus episodes, most of which include Erin, videos of regular episodes, author hangouts, and so much more. Do you want to hear Erin and I recap every single episode of Crash Landing on You? What about a little film called Psycho Stripper? Do you want more recaps of ridiculous Thanksgiving and other holiday books and movies? And how do you feel about Naima Simone and I recapping amazing reality TV? All of that and more is on the Patreon. There's so much content at your fingertips as soon as you sign up. Seriously, hours and hours. Anyway, it's patreon.com/Heaving Bosoms Podcast if you want to check it out. And of course, that link is in the show notes. Keep being a badass.
Anyway, they get there, and then I had a hard time.
Yes.
Because he does a lot of, like, what's your heritage?
It was so weird,
It's
right?
so
Like, it was strange.
weird.
And I was very much like an I don't care. Like, she had to go all the way back to her great-grandparents to be like, this is where my golden skin comes from. This is where my dark hair comes from. This is where I get, like, all of these different features that I have.
Yeah.
And this is how I got my name. And it's like, just, like, let it. We're, like, 100 years in the future. Can't we just not be like, what's your deal?
I mean, so it was weird because it wasn't quite, like, the where are you from question that a lot of people get who aren't white in America. You know, a lot of BIPOC get that in America, and particularly Asian and South Asian will get that a lot. So it's not quite that question, but it was definitely like, he was like, why is your name Slavic when, like, you're super brown and your mom looks like very Asiatic and you don't look Asiatic at all? Like, what's up with that? And I had a hard time because this is coming from a white, or at the very least, white passing man. But then there's that added layer of, like, you know, he's just the meat puppet for Nalini Singh. And she's a South Asian woman. So, like, that's a whole different level. And you know what? It really only started to, like, grate on me because he kept on, throughout the whole book, he keeps on referring to her as exotic.
Yeah.
And like it was
lot.
almost like fetishized, where, like, her golden skin, like, just needed
the golden skin and the exotic thing came together a lot.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know.
I just didn't love it. It just felt really, I don't know. It felt fetishized. Anyway.
I feel like if this book were written by a white author, we would have a capital P problem with it.
Right.
But because it's Nalini Singh, I'm like, well, I mean, she knows better than me
Totally.
what's offensive to South Asian women.
Absolutely.
So,
and that, and I also have to, I didn't look up when this book was written, but I think it was like a decade ago, right?
I don't know.
Anyway. All right. But this gets to the point, it gets us to the point in the conversation where he's like, oh, your mom went to a sperm bank ? And she's like, yeah, that's the way we do things because, you know, everything else is, like, dirty and meh.
Yeah, it's like Brave New World. No one has gross sex anymore. It's gross. There's cleanup. It's disgusting.
Right.
We don't do that. We're cooler than that.
Right. We're above it. And he's like, I don't know. Don't knock it till you've tried it. And she's like, oh, don't worry. I learned about animal reproduction when I was growing up. And he's like, oh, I think the animal in you might like it.
Then he says he wants to snarl her hair.
Then he's got
like, can I undo your braid? And she's like, no, you can't undo my braid. You can't touch me.
And they start talking about skin privileges.
Yes, skin privileges. Very hot.
I love a skin privilege.
He does not have skin privileges with her, so he can't touch her. But he does kind of tug on her braid a little bit, which is hot.
And we learn that changelings, the only people who automatically have skin privileges, are pack mates and lovers. So the changelings are much more tactile, and that's a really, really important thing to their culture and community. But it's not something that they like allow everyone or do willy-nilly. Okay, so she's like, he's all predator, but I'm not scared because I've faced, like, way more terror in the Psy-Net, which is, like, so sad, you know? Because that's supposed to be her safe space. That's, like, the network her brain is always hooked up to. Ugh, so sad. Okay, so then we do real estate stuff. Doesn't matter.
There's so much real estate stuff about, like, who they can sell to and where it's going to be and, like, what the design is.
But then they go to Tamsin's house. Tams, and she's the healer, and she's amazing. And she's got two little cubbaroos who are doing their little jaguar thing. And so they walk in, and Lucas, like, kisses her and hugs her.
All right. Okay. Here we are.
All right.
We've arrived to
Bing boom bong.
This is, like, I think the biggest problem that I have with the book.
Whoa.
In the pack, everybody has skin privileges with each other. And Lucas will just like walk up to all the ladies and just like smooch them on the mouth and like caress their face. And it's just about togetherness, and it's just because it's not sexual at all. It's just letting him know, like, I'm here for you and I'm your leader and that kind of thing. With the women.
Yeah, and then the men.
With the women only. With the men, they do things like go outside and run.
Right.
And fight each other.
Right.
And hunt. And it's like, okay, all right, Lucas, if it's not sexual, kiss the boys.
Right.
Kiss the boys on the mouth. If it's not sexual, kiss those men. Caress their faces.
Give them those bites on the neck, Aaron.
Bite their necks. Casually. Just in a friend way. Listen.
Do it.
I had a problem with this. And if my dude were like, no, I just French all the women on the mouth as like a pack thing, I'd be like, go French that man right now. Prove it. I didn't like this at all. I think they should all smooch each other on the mouth. Yeah. You know what? It's Nexium. That's what it is. It's all those ladies lined up to say hello to Keith and smooch him on the mouth. That's what it is. I don't like it.
Wow. All right. But can I just tell you how much I love a society where somebody can just like, somebody I love, anybody can just come over and bite me on the neck?
I mean, I don't hate it if
wonderful.
he did it to the men too. I don't hate it if it's equal opportunity. Honestly, I would kind of like find it super hot.
Me too.
Kiss the boys too.
Me too. Very much so. Because it's very heteronormative. It's it seems like quasi homophobic. And again, I think this book was written like 10 years ago. So
fair enough.
I don't know that for a fact, but it at least it feels that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have friends who I just like kiss on the lips, hello, goodbye. And
Aaron, not one of these friends.
No, Aaron
What's that?
would not like that.
No, I would hate it, but I've never had the opportunity.
Well, I
would like the opportunity to reject this kiss.
Oh yeah, because I'm just super into knowing I'm going in for rejection.
The next time I see you, would like you to lean in, and I would like to reject you for this. Thank you.
No, I don't do it with people who like I know will obviously definitely hate it. That's not okay.
I just would like the opportunity to turn it down. That's all I'm saying.
You're a dick. Okay.
All right.
Anyway, she learns that touch is just like a thing. It's totally cool. And then she lets a couple of baby leopards chew on her boots, which is something a Psy would not do.
For the first time.
Oh my God, she tastes
And she
chocolate.
cannot say whether she likes it or doesn't like it because the Psy do not like or not like things.
That's
They're
right.
either useful or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then they like meet about more plans and stuff. Mm-hmm. The only thing that's necessary about this is that she can tell that the designer isn't a leopard. And he's like, no Psy should be able to tell like a different species of changeling. That's not a thing Psy can do. So it's another tip off for him.
Also, she says that she could control the brain of a changeling or make them think things. Right. It would just be a lot of effort for her.
Yeah. And it's usually not worth the effort.
Right.
Okay. So now she goes home and she finds her mother in a secret meeting with a very creepy counselor called Enrique.
By the way, did you ever have any doubt in your mind that the serial killer was Enrique?
No! It's obviously Enrique from...
He's the only other character we know, Nalini!
Yeah!
Give us one more character!
No, I knew the whole time! Come on! Okay, so he's a cardinal and he can do a big telekinesis on you.
Yeah.
And that's it. All right, so then she tells her mom...
He's on the council. Did you see that?
I did. I said it was a really creepy counselor.
Okay. All right. Bye.
All right. So she tells her mom like the bare minimum that she possibly can to get through the meeting. And she finds that a little bit weird. And her mom won't tell her what she was meeting with Enrique about. And she's like, but I'm getting more responsibility. And her mom's like, get out of here. No, you're not. It's very sad. She's always getting put down.
Yes.
All right. So then she decides in that meeting, fuck it. I'm going to indulge and like get a taste of Lucas in a safe environment.
Safe.
Oh boy.
So she programs her brain to have a sex dream about Lucas.
Yeah.
But then don't we go over to Lucas's perspective, right?
And he gets a dream blowjob.
She sucks him into her dream.
Yeah.
And they have a joint Dream Beach.
They do. They've got
It's
one
hot.
of those. It is a hot.
And we are at 15% into the
Right.
book,
Mhm.
and I have been bored to tears with real estate and world building.
Yeah.
And the panther in me awakened. The panther in me stopped pacing its cage.
That's the cage of your mind, Aaron.
The cage of my mind. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of like the animal within in this book.
Yeah. And I loved it.
And kind of like did a little head cock.
Hello. I'm here now. Hello, it's me, Aaron. I'm here.
Yeah, that's what the panther in me did. All right.
So yeah, they do
It's
that
hot.
Dream Beach, and it's a big hot. Yeah, and as soon as he comes, he's like, "Oh, thank you, kitten," and she's gone. Poof, puff of smoke. She's gone.
Done.
So now they have a meeting with Clay, and so they have this meeting about shit. Doesn't matter with a sentinel.
It doesn't matter.
And she goes into the bathroom. Because I love this.
I loved it. She goes to the bathroom because she has to like take a call with her mom and
Yeah.
Enrique, right?
No, just
Enrique.
I think just Enrique.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, he wants her to like find out stuff about changelings and report back to him.
Yeah.
And then I think maybe afterwards she talks to her mom
To clear it
and
with
says,
her.
couldn't I just tell you and like you could tell Enrique because like he kind of creeps me out and like I don't really want to talk to him directly and like
And he asked me to check in every day.
and that's a lot.
That's a lot.
I would like to establish some boundaries.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to do.
So she has 2 full-on business meetings.
Wait. And this
in
is all
bathroom.
Yeah, so she's in her brain on the Psynet with
Mhm.
Enrique, and then afterwards she like goes into what they call a private mental room in the Psynet to like face to face with Enrique, and then she just telepaths with her mom.
It's like a Zoom breakout group.
It is, yeah. But she's sitting on the lid of a closed toilet the whole time.
Well, what they do is they like text each other and they're like, "Get on the Skynet."
Right.
It's like Psynet. Sorry,
Psynet.
It does rhyme.
Psynet.
It's kind of like AIM. Like get on AIM tonight
It
at
is.
like 7 p.m.
It
So they
is.
like text and they're like, "Get on Psynet," and then they talk.
I
And
must
they have the
Skype
little
you
breakout
in
rooms.
5 minutes.
Yeah. So she's in this bathroom for, I don't know,
30
conservatively
minutes.
like a half hour.
Yeah.
And then she like emerges and they were like, "You pooping?"
Yeah.
It's the best. They definitely think she was pooping.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah, so she's like, so sorry, I was not defecating, actually. I was having
taking
2 business meetings.
business
Thank you.
type meetings.
I was doing
Thank you.
business, because I'm a
was doing
very
business.
serious business lady.
Not poop business, but serious Psy business.
That's right. And so Kit, one of the juveniles, is like, that's a really funny place to take a meeting. And she decides to fuck with him a little. And so she's like, she totally deadpans
Why?
him. She's like, why?
Why is it?
And he like turns bright red and has to leave. And Lucas is like, Psy should not be able to tease. I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then, boy, okay. Wow. So now it's dream time.
What happens next?
So now it's dream time. And they...
Wait.
Yep.
I want to say, I've just flipped to the page in my thing that when she walked in on Nikita and Enrique, did you see that he was ensconcing her?
No.
Yes.
Was he ensconcing her in her mind?
She found Santano Enrique ensconced with Nikita.
Oh.
Just want to let you know.
Mm-hmm.
What that means is that he's like around her.
Yeah, he's like settled. He's settled
Yeah.
next to her, is what it is.
Anyway, is it dream time?
It's dream time, and guess what we've got, Erin?
What?
More dry humping. I bet you
Yeah.
never guessed it. It's more dry humping!
It's a big dry hump. Why has there been so much dry humping
So
in
much.
our books recently?
I don't hate it.
Because there's been a lot.
Yeah.
Like, there was a significant amount in Devil in Winter. There was an unsettling scene.
I forgot
in
about Devil
The
in
Roommate,
Winter. They
and
did
now-
do that tiny dry hump.
Yes.
And now we're doing a big dry hump.
yes.
Because she's there. She's now in like a bra and panties, and he does not like that. But he's like, why are you dressed? Oh, and so every time she dreams, she's like, why are you talking? You shouldn't talk. It's my dream. And he's like, I don't know.
This is my fantasy.
Yeah. Okay, so then they do a big dry hump, and she comes for the first time in her life, and her eyes go like fireworks,
Mhm.
which is something that was like a rumor, like a myth, but it's true. It's just that Psys don't orgasm anymore, so nobody knows about it anymore.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
So then, also, you guys, you really need to read, please. Please, good
Yeah.
Lord, if you haven't read this, go read it, because
Go read it.
the dream sexes are
Very good.
so hot.
Mhm.
Like, he's always touching on her supple skin and like Panthers are especially tactile, and so he needs, like, he'll have these, like, urges, like he has to touch her hair or he has to touch her skin. And it's just...
And she's so, like, curious. It's so science experiment to her. It's great.
Yeah.
She has trouble making eye contact with him the next day, considering
they don't see each other
sexy
the next
her
day.
sex dream is. Oh, maybe I'm on a different sex dream. But it's awkward, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
After they have these dreams.
Right.
Because he doesn't know that she knows, and she doesn't know that they don't think that they're actually linked in these dreams, and they are.
Right. Well, so after the first... the beach, the next day, I forgot to tell everyone, they had this conversation where he was like, hey, so you look like you haven't been sleeping. Bad dreams?
Yeah.
And she's
they
like,
keep doing that.
The Psy don't dream. And he's like, oh, well, I've been having these dreams lately. And then he's like, oh, no, he says dreams can be really pleasurable. And she's like, what does he mean? What does he mean? Oh, no. And so, yeah, he keeps on doing things like that because he's trying to figure out if she's there, too. And okay, but they don't see each other the next day because she can't. Like, she literally can't after her first orgasm.
Oh, right. I remember that.
And
now.
he has to go to his parents' grave because he's an orphan. And he has been since he was little.
13.
Thank you. And it's a big trauma. And it's a big wow.
Yeah.
Wow, is that a story?
It's a lot.
But that's why they don't see each other. And then she shows up in his dream that night. And he can tell something's wrong. And he's like, what's the matter? And she's like, I don't really know. And he's like, I don't really feel very good either. And so he just holds out his arms, and instead of doing a dream sex, they do a dream snuggle. Oh my gosh.
Like a fully clothed dream snuggle.
Yeah, and she's like, why are you sad? And he says, because I remembered today that I can't protect everyone that I love. And then she says, I wish you would love me. And she says, why? And she says, because then you might be able to protect me. And he's like, who do you need protecting from? And she's like, this is about pleasure and connection. This is not, we can talk about death other times.
It's so hot.
Wow. Oh, no, I'm so sorry. She says, because I'm broken. Her hand kept smoothing over his heart, and he could feel a melting warmth invade his body. And the Psy don't allow broken creatures to live.
Yeah.
Oh.
She keeps feeling, the more she feels for him, the more she realizes, like, they're definitely going to, she's crumbling. She's going insane.
Yeah.
And they're going to cart her off. Did you notice that when she put her hand on his chest in this scene, that she has a fine boned hand?
No.
Yes.
No.
She does.
God damn it.
So delicate.
Sometimes ladies just have sturdy bones. Okay. Okay. So the next day at the office, Lucas finds out that Snow Dancer, the neighboring wolf pack, has lost a packmate lady. So now it's like Snow Dancer is really, really hard to, wow, no pun intended, but keep leashed. So they're like, we really have to get in touch with them because we need to be smart about this. Otherwise, it's all out war and all of our juveniles are going to die. Like, the Psy will just murder all of our babies.
Right.
So then Dorian hits his limit and freaks the fuck out because they now have a week. They know the pattern. They get taken, and a week later, the ladies are tortured for that whole week. And then they're brought back to a safe space, and then they're killed in the safe space.
So, like, the first 3 or 4 were ladies that no one gave a shit about, apparently.
Yes.
And then, like, number 4 had somebody in the world that loved her, apparently, and was found.
Right.
In, like, her house, I want to say.
Yeah.
And then the next one was, like, her workplace. And then they found the first 3, and those ones were, like, house, workplace,
Sure.
place she visited all the time. So how about we just take 5 guys, go to her house, her workplace, wherever she likes to make her ceramics or whatever, the 5 places she goes, and just fucking wait. Where's that plan?
That's a really good plan. They don't even...
Yeah.
They don't even...
He goes back to wherever she loves the most, and then he kills her there. So it's not like he even dumps her there. He kills her there.
Yeah. He does the finishing blow there.
Split the pack and wait.
I mean, ideally, they would like to get her before she's tortured for 7 days.
But they know the exact date and time that she will arrive at a place that is probably narrowed down to less than 10 places. How have we not solved this crime already? How is this the 7th woman that has been taken by this serial killer.
Fair. I mean, I don't think they knew the pattern until they realized they put it together because of Kylie, their packmate.
Okay,
because
that's fine.
They couldn't. I mean, they didn't know the rest of it.
Not realizing it until Kylie is still poor police work. Listen,
there was no police work. That's the point.
That's what I'm saying. But these guys could do it. They're not dummies. Figure it out.
No, yeah, that's true. But remember, okay, no. Nobody knew about the serial killer because they hadn't put it together. And then when Kylie happened, they were like, what the fuck? And then they started looking for other cases that might be similar because it was so exaggerated.
In this one,
exaggerated.
It should be the plan. It shouldn't be hack into the Psy-Net and create a diversion.
They want to make sure she's not tortured for a full 7 days.
Do the other work too, but like mostly alpha plan should be this plan. This plan can't lose. Beta plan should be the other plan.
Oh my gosh.
Hopefully it works.
No, the alpha plan should be the one that might fail, and you always have your beta that's definitely going to work.
Concurrent plans, all right?
Equally important plans.
Equally important. Let's put personnel on both plans.
This has been Bing Boom Bong Logistics with Aaron.
Thank you.
Solving crimes with Aaron.
Crime solving times with Aaron. All right.
All right, so Dorian is like freaking the fuck out because this is like the straw that breaks his back. And he's like, we have to grab that Psy. We're going to torture the fuck out of her. And she's going to tell us what is going on because he thinks that the Psy-Net is like a hive mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so they all share information and it's something they can't stop. It's like an automatic function.
Right.
And so she walks in and Dorian is like, he's just emanating rage and she can feel it. She can feel the sorrow and the anger and everything. And so she's trying to figure out what happens. They tell her about the serial killer and they tell her like the broad strokes. And then the healer gets there to try to help Dorian and they ask her to leave. Lucas is like, go wait for me outside. And she's very hurt by this because it does keep happening. And he keeps on being like, you need to leave.
It's during this conversation that he says that they're stinky too.
Yes. Yeah. Because
he
there's
says
no
that
filter.
The Psy are so stinky.
Well, because she says, how do you know it's Psy?
But yeah.
And he says, because I felt the metallic stench that is all Psy. And I think he, at some point, oh no, that's later. He does tell her about the hunk of concrete thing. And it's dude, filter it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she leaves and she's like, fuck, man, I don't belong anywhere.
Those dreams are just dreams.
Yes.
Like, the Psy don't want me. The Changelings don't want me either. Like, those dreams will never be true. Yeah. I'm broken and stinky.
Right.
And no one wants me.
Yeah.
But then she's like, maybe I can go into Dorian's brain parts and gather up all of this bad stuff and soothe him and then go get rid of it for him. So she does.
So she psychically just like fills her arm parts and she just fills bags and bags and bags of all of his awful feelings. And then she puts them all inside of herself. And then she gets in her car and she goes home and she barely makes it into her apartment before she throws up her shields and collapses on the floor. Mm-hmm. And she is in a coma for 7 hours because of the psychic power she expended.
Yes.
And when she wakes, she feels fine. And we get a cutscene to Dorian and Lucas where Lucas like feels a Psy power happening, which is something that like basically very few changelings have, but he's one of them, of course. And then Dorian all of a sudden is like, oh my God, I feel so much better. It's like a weight is lifted and somebody took all of my terrible feelings and left peace behind.
Yeah, and that healer's like, wasn't me.
Right.
I don't know.
Tamsin's like, that's not one of my skills.
Yeah,
so.
I was chilling, so.
I was like, hot compress, cold compress, I don't really know. Herbs.
Do you want herbs?
Yeah, so he's like, I'm pretty sure I know who did this, and it's kind of awesome.
So is this where she, like, drives to this place?
Yes. Yeah, so she wakes up. Yeah, somehow she finds out that Enrique is Nikita's ally. I think they have a meeting or something. Doesn't really matter.
I think that's because she walks in on them when they were ensconced.
Yes, okay, fair enough.
Happened on that page. Okay.
Yeah. And so she can't sleep because she keeps on thinking about the council. Because they were like, the council is obviously covering this up. And she's like, there's no fucking way the council would not do that. And so she keeps thinking and thinking and thinking. She's like, Rah! So she just gets dressed and she's gonna go and she drives to the changeling office. And Lucas all of a sudden shifters out of the bushes.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, you're here. And he's like, yeah, I came here on instinct. I think maybe you brought me here. And she's like, I can't do that. I'm so weak.
Couldn't sleep. And he's like, I couldn't sleep. And she's like, bad dreams. And he's like, no dreams. That was the problem. Hot.
I didn't get a single ball tickle in my dreams, okay?
Hot. I'm really used to you giving me blowjobs every night in my dreams.
Yeah, very hot. And so she's like, well, I thought Psy stank or whatever. And he's like, most Psy do, but I find your scent to be luscious. Hot.
Mm-hmm. Hot.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
they're like, we can't talk here.
We can't talk here. It's not safe.
So he takes her to his house, which is like...
to his lair.
Aaron. Which is like in the wilderness. Like he has a city apartment for like his commute times.
But then he
has like a wilderness, like a Yosemite wilderness apartment.
Yeah.
That you have to climb a tree to get to. And she does have to get on his back to get onto that tree.
And he
climb
feels
up
her
like a spider
mound all over his back.
God. Melody, why do you have to make... Every time I think something is good, you have to make it gross.
It literally says something like that.
All over his back. It just sounds like she's like painting him with her vagina. It's
says
gross.
that he feels her hot something or other as she puts her legs around him. I'm not making this up. I'm probably
I don't know. Anyway, it just makes it seem like she's just like moving all around and like, I don't know.
Yeah, she's painting.
Gross.
She's vagina painting. Some people finger paint. Sascha, vagina paints.
I know. I saw it on The Bachelor one time. It was gross then, too. So then they go up there and they have bing bong bong.
Okay.
Mexican pizza and
coffee.
I've
had that before that. Yeah. And
wait, there's such a thing as Mexican pizza?
Oh, everything. Like, so many things happen in the white parts of Oregon. You know?
Okay, maybe it's a California thing because they are in California.
Yeah, it's a travesty, is what it is.
This does take place in Tahoe / Bay Area / Yosemite.
Yeah, they're always driving minimum 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, always.
I don't know where, how many days they have on this future, hours in the day they have on this future Earth, but
yeah, because sometimes they're like, oh, this changeling has been missing for 36 hours, and I'm like, has she? She's been missing for weeks.
Yeah.
But anyway, they go up there and they snarf Mexican pizza and coffee.
But just the whole thing is she made him coffee, and a Psy wouldn't do that because a Psy can't think about other people's needs, and they only eat energy bars and whatever it takes to live.
And she doesn't even like coffee.
And she doesn't
even want it. She gives it to him.
She says, I don't require it. Mm-hmm. He's like, okay.
Hey, HBs. I started an Etsy store. Did you know? Right now, it's full of all the St. Vincent items you need. Because St. Vincent is thoughtful and cozy all year round. We've got a book sleeve to keep your books, planners, e-readers, or really anything else safe when you're on the go. The inside is fuzzy, and they feel so incredibly lush in your hands. I went round and round with the manufacturers to make sure I had just the right thickness. Those feature art of St. Vincent and Evie during their carriage adventure that was painted by the amazing Mayara Faraz on one side, and then I created a St. Vincent Would Always wreath on the other side that has a bunch of little Easter egg items in it. There's a St. Vincent Would Always warm brick enamel pin. It's if you know, you know. I designed a special edition Marriage of Convenience candle that is specific to Devil in Winter, with the help of HB Jen at Post Pouring Company. It combines dark amber for St. Vincent and rosewood for Evie, and it smells so delicious. It's hard to even wrap my brain around. So if you want to treat yourself or be the St. Vincent you want to see in the world by getting a care package for a friend, check out our Etsy store. The link is in the show notes.
He also changes behind a screen, and he
yeah,
does
like a screen that's lit from behind.
Show. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, okay, so then they sit on the couch and they have a big debrief about all the serial killings.
Yes,
they do so many details about serial killings, and I found it to be utterly fascinating the whole time.
Herb's most of it.
So I think that what listener will be excited about, however, is that she's like, you're getting really emotional because he keeps snapping at her. And so she goes to get up and he cages her with his arms and brings her back to the couch.
Yes, he does do that.
And then that gives him like the opportunity to rub on her nape and then rub on her cheeks and like start messing with her hair and maybe take out her braid. Like, listen, I don't know what everything that happened.
He starts to snarl it.
Yeah, he's snarling it.
But he can't quite snarl it all the way. Mm-mm. Guys, none of you listen to the episode that this is from, but it's one of my favorite callbacks, so I'm sorry. He tries to snarl it, but he can't snarl it all the way. Christmas time cowboy, is that right?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she's also been really mad because he says that Rena is the one who brought the Mexican pizza. And so she's like, oh my God, he's been fucking a girl named Rena. I hate it. And I'm so jealous.
Justice for Rena.
So they're doing this cuddling and she says, you don't have skin privileges. And he says,
hot.
What if I want them?
If I wanted them.
And then he says that Dorian said that sleeping with a Psy was like that hunk of concrete situation. And she's like, how should I know? So I don't do it. And he says... He says, well, how about a kiss? Mm-hmm. And she's like, why would I ever do that? ...
She says sex seems impractical and messy and the whole thing is gross.
Yeah. And he's like, why don't we just call it an experiment? And she's like, oh, yeah. No, I bet that if we did that and I did that experiment, then I would learn so much more about marriage and bonding and other insights about humans and changes.
Sure. Yeah.
So like I should definitely smooch your whole head off. And then they do. Boy, they do this kiss and it's like 3 pages long and it's from both their perspectives and she's doing a moan and a whimper. And
he does he does all these like little bites.
Oh yeah.
Like tiny little nibble bites, like leopard bites. Wait, panther bites?
Panther bites.
I don't know.
Leopard panther bites? Leopard panther? All right.
Leopard panther? Yeah, sure.
He's a leopard panther. Yeah, and it's a hot. Oh, and he loves that she's so responsive. And so then she pulls back and she's like, I should go home now. I need to be home in time for something. And he says, okay, cool. And then he reaches down and he just bites her lower lip and it says he marks her. Marks her right up. Oh, it's a big hot. Okay, so now she gets home and she's thinking all of this over and she's really torn. Because on the one hand, she knows she's never going to fit in with the Psy, but on the other hand, she knows that she's not Pac. He's made that incredibly clear.
Well, and also she thinks that he's probably just seducing her to get information about the serial killer. And so she probably is stinky.
Right, she's like,
he's probably a liar.
I'm like the only Psy on the whole planet who doesn't stink. Shut up, Sascha, you're so dumb. Ugh.
Yeah.
And so she's like, you know what? I hate him. I hate everything about him. And so I'm going to go tell my mom everything. I'm going to tell her. And that's where we like leave that scene. And so then we go to his perspective and he's like on the job site or something and she shows up. So then she tells him that she almost told, but she didn't.
Yeah, she walks in and she's like, guess what I did? I went to my mom to tell her everything. And he's like, you bitch.
He does say
Didn't
bitch.
he call her a bitch?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, loved it.
Why would I? That's fine. No, I had normal feelings about it. I was mad at him and I hated it. I hated it and I was mad.
Okay. So then she's like, but I didn't. At the last moment, I couldn't. I couldn't betray any of your secrets. I couldn't betray your confidence. And then, meanwhile, he's realizing that her almost betrayal stings extra bad because she's his. He's just come to she's his now. And he knows it. And it says that he doesn't touch easily outside of Pac. And then he takes her to Tamsin's house. Oh, and she's a big downer. She's like, I'm never going to be a Psy, but I can't be yours either. And like, nobody ever wants me. And he's like, let's go to Tamsin's house. Let's get some yummy food in you and you'll feel better.
The food in this book, with the exception of the Mexican pizza and the hot chocolate.
All of Tamsin's meals are perfect. Yes. Okay, so then they go to her house for lunch. She finds out that they've taken all the babies and they've put them in faraway packs so that they're not around in case shit goes down with the Psy. She doesn't find out all that. She just knows the cubs are gone.
Right.
And then she decides to surf the Psy net and try to figure out what's going on.
Surf around that Psy net. Just kind of like hang out, check some public stuff, just see what's good. Just do a Goog. She's just going to do a Google on the Psynet and be like, serial killers, question mark, and just see what comes up.
And like see if she feels any like raging feelings or like some malice or whatever.
It's a lot like X-Men when that big X-Man, he puts the hat on. It's a lot like that.
Yeah, Professor Xavier.
When Professor X, he does put that hat on in his big circle room, and then he can see everything.
That's the one.
It's a lot like that.
It's like that. Okay, so then Rena comes in, and she's sad because her brother Kit is missing. The one that that Sascha teased earlier.
He's not even really that missing,
not
though.
missing.
Like, let's skip it. So she goes and she surfs the place.
The important thing is, really quick, he kisses Rena on the lips. And this is where she finds out that, like, kisses don't mean anything. It's not sexual. And then Tamsin says, anybody outside of Packy's ever kissed is somebody he's wanted in his bed. And she's like, nah, how am I ever gonna, I have to focus. Oh, no.
But also, kiss the boys.
Kiss the boys, please.
Kiss them on the lips, Lucas. Yeah. Is this where he flips his shit on Rena?
No, not yet.
Okay. All right. I will save it.
I love it. I can't wait for your thoughts. Okay.
So she goes and does the big surf.
She does that big surf. We don't see much of it. Doesn't really matter.
She doesn't get anything, because who's going to leave that out on Google?
Nobody.
No one.
You can't let anybody Google that.
Yeah.
Anyway, she does a debrief with Lucas, and like they hold hands during the debrief. Doesn't super matter, except for the fact that they hold hands.
I love a handhold.
Me too. They interlace their fingers and everything. Okay. So then she goes home and she's super trembling because she's been expending all that psychic energy and her shields are a mess and like it's a bad.
Mm-hmm.
She gets called into her mother's office for intel and Enrique is also there. And she gives them like things that can basically be found on the public record, but they've never bothered to figure out because they're so arrogant. And then she needs to leave because she's having a full complete breakdown. This is when she goes to her car because she's like about to sob and then she's about to scream. She programs his address into her car and then she legit shrieks and passes out into a coma.
Goes into a coma.
Oh my god.
She has all the emotions at one time.
Yeah.
And then also like body problems, like seizure-y problems, it seems like.
Can you imagine the overload, especially like, so you've never been able to learn how to process your feelings for the entire first 25 years of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're an empath who feels everyone else's feelings too. Spoiler alert, listener.
Wow.
I'm so good at my job. Yeah. And then all of us, they're just crashing in on her. Yeah, so it's a wow.
It's a big. And when she gets there, because the cars drive themselves in future times.
They do.
And when she gets there, she's just like straight in a coma. Oh no, actually the car like overshoots it, I guess.
the car breaks down.
That car's like bad or something.
Yeah, it breaks down before it gets into
like the
snow
wolf
dancer territory.
Yeah, it goes into Wolfland, and then like this
they
wolf
go to murder her. But then they're like, oh no, she smells like Lucas the Panther.
She smells like that panther. And so Wolfman calls Lucas and is like, I've got this Psy here and she's stinky like you.
Right.
And he's like, don't kill her. And
don't
he's
you
like,
dare
okay.
touch her.
So he like carries her into the snow dancers. No, the night riders. And he's like, hey, Lucas, here you go. Here's your Psy. We didn't kill her.
Yeah, but he says, don't thank me, though, because I'll kill her next time I see her. Because she's a Psy like any other Psy. And then he says, my pack will die for her. And
she's a pack.
Yeah, and then Hawk is like, oh, mated to a Psy cat? And he's like, shut your mouth, your mom is mated to a Psy. And he leaves.
Ooh.
Because he can't deal with it right now.
Because it's accurate information.
That's right. How dare you, you wolf. Okay, so now she spends a few good hours in a coma.
On a table. How dare you? Because all the other beds were taken.
You can't move a bitch.
You're gonna die for this woman? You do anything for her and you let her have her coma on a table?
On a table.
Give her your bed, God. You fuck asshole.
What are you doing, Lucas?
You fuck asshole. Give her your bed.
Yeah.
You sleep on the table.
Move a sentinel or something. Jesus.
Oh, Jesus.
Nobody can get off the couch?
Well, like, you have a bed?
Panthers?
He's sleeping on a bed.
No, I don't
think
he's
not
staying at the safe house. Is he?
Then I don't care.
Doesn't matter.
I don't care.
Move somebody.
No one sleeps in a bed if she can't.
That's
Everybody
right.
sleeps outside. She gets all the beds. Smush them all together.
Right.
She needs them. Dear God. What kind of werewolf book is this? He's supposed to take care of her.
Anyway, she does wake up, and he immediately grabs her.
And her back hurts bad.
Oh, well, that's why he has to cradle her in his arms.
He's like, ouch, I've been on this table. And he's like, she's like trying to crack her back and stuff. It's rough. Neck hurts.
Hard. That comes straight from the book. Erin basically read it out loud. Okay, so then they're snurgling. And she says that she's going to help them at any cost because she's dead anyway as soon as they find out about her feelings. And she can't keep it up anymore. Like, she can't keep hiding. It's, like, physically impossible for her now. Mm-hmm. And so she's going to die soon regardless. And then she says, please kill me if they come to get me. Like, if I become unresponsive, you need to murder me dead because they're taking me away to rehabilitate me. Yeah. And I'll be a shell of my former self regardless.
And he's like, nah, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, he's like, fuck that.
Yeah, but then she's like, please do it. And then he's like, okay, but then he's like, I won't. I never will. Never. In my brain, I'm going to think that I'm alive.
So, back in the living room, Dorian's there.
All right.
Yep. Dorian's
That's how this podcast is, I guess.
Wait, did I cut you off?
No, I just think it's really funny how formal the narration was. Back in the living room, Dorian's there. All right, Barbara.
Dorian comes over and he's like, he touches her on the cheek and she pulls back a little bit and he's like, no touching. And she's like, I'm not changeling. It's hard for me. And so then he grabs her whole face. And he's like, you did something to me. I wish I could see into your body to see if you have a soul. It's like, creepy Dorian.
Yeah, creepy Dorian. She just said, don't touch me. And you're grabbing her whole face, and you're trying to look at her mouth to see if there's a soul inside. I don't like it.
Wow.
Yeah.
You went from 0 to wow there, Dorian. Yep. Okay. And Lucas, very rightly, is like, Dorian, hello.
Please.
Can you
chill.
Cool it?
Cool it.
Okay, so then they're talking about the signet or something, and Rena comes in, and she's like, how are we supposed to know that you're not going to betray us, and you've already been betraying us, because she's like 21 and stupid. And Lucas is like, are you questioning my judgments?
Lucas loses his shit because she's not allowed to talk to him that way, because she's, quote, a low-rank soldier. All right. Bing, boom, bong. Leadership with Erin. Don't talk to your low-rank soldiers in a way that you call them low-rank soldiers and tell them they can't talk to you about their opinions. They might have good opinions.
Give them code names like Private.
Sure, yeah. But but the thing is, she probably has a respectful code name like Private.
Maybe.
And he's calling her a low-rank soldier. That's rude. And all she's doing is saying, hey, is this really a good idea, sir? What you want your soldiers to be able to do? And he just loses his shit on her.
Mates. He does a big public humiliate.
Huge. And then at the end of the thing, it's like a fucking afterthought. He's like, wait a minute, you're not at your post. Yeah. He wouldn't have even fucking noticed she wasn't at her post if she hadn't like smarted off to him or whatever he thinks. And then he wants to triple sex shame her by being like, I'm moving you. You're now under Dorian's command. And Dorian, how about you don't fuck her like the last guy and let her run all over you and stuff, because she's going to have you by the balls like the last guy who was in command of her because she's too sexy and she fucks everybody. Listen. This is like really terrible leadership plus a sex shame. This was rough.
And Sascha thinks so too. Sascha's like, what the fuck is the matter with you?
This is a competency flaccid.
It is.
For which Erin would have walked out of the relationship. This would have been a no more.
Yeah, and Sasha's sort of there. Except that he does take her aside and he's like, you can't let him. You can't let him. And then she does a big hug and then it's a better. So.
And you know what? Even though Rena is a low-rank soldier that isn't allowed to talk to him, and she's certainly right to question this decision. And he knows all about all her sex times and wants to shout it out to the unit and embarrass her. He's still going to fucking kiss her on the lips the next time he sees her. I don't like this unit. I don't like it. And I think it's toxic. I don't like it. I don't think he's a good leader. I really turned. I turned at this point in the book. I didn't like it at all.
180 degrees. It's over.
Yep. Yep.
All right.
I think Dorian should fuck her. That's what I think. No, that's also toxic.
It's bad.
All right.
It's bad.
It's bad. You shouldn't have sex with your junior soldier.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
All right. So he drops her off and he's like, "Stay safe, Sascha, darling." And she says, "I wish I'd been born another time, another place. Then maybe I could have escaped fate. Maybe I could have been your darling." And then she goes into her house. Wow.
It's very sweet if I didn't hate him now. I'm sorry.
Okay. So now she gets to her mother's office and Enrique is there again because they're obviously in cahoots. They are obviously joined at the hip. They're ensconced.
You think they're fucking?
No.
I was wondering.
No, they don't fuck.
The ensconced made me think maybe.
Here's the thing. Here's the other thing that I had an issue with. All right?
Huh.
They take away all emotion and they take away all empathy, sure. But like you don't take away the nerve endings. Why doesn't touch feel good anymore?
Because there's no good or bad. There's no value judgment on it.
But they have to feel pain.
Sure.
Right? So like
I guess. Physical pain.
Yeah. Orgasms are a physical sensation they get your heart rate up.
Yeah, but you can't admit you like them. It's like that Psy that had sex with Dorian or whatever as an experiment to see what it was. Like, that's the only thing you can do.
I don't know. It's just weird that it's like you no longer have nerve endings in your clitoris because you can't. I don't think they find it
useful.
Happiness.
It's not useful. Like, chocolate isn't useful.
It doesn't. Okay, so things have to be. Yeah, okay. Things have to be useful. All right. I don't know. I just know a lot of people without empathy who still like to get their rocks off.
I agree. Yeah, I understand. But it's not just empathy. It's everything else, too.
Yeah, fair. Okay. They basically are like, "Do you have any more information yet, goddammit?" And she's like, "No, I super don't. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so bad at this. I'm such a weak cardinal." And they're like, "Wow, we thought you were going to be more useful, but I guess bye."
Bye.
And she's like, "Oh my fucking God, my mom knows everything. I know she knows everything. I can tell."
Mm-hmm.
And Enrique follows her to the elevator. And he's been showing a lot of interest in her, right? He wanted the daily check-ins.
Creepy.
He's super creepy. And he's like, "I think that we should, hone your powers together. We should meet in private and work on stuff." And she's like, "This is not good. The interest this is dangerous. Yikes, bad." But then they get interrupted, and so she gets to go away. And then Lucas finds out that the murderer's scent went into the Duncan building.
Mm-hmm.
And so he covertly messages Sascha to be like, "You need to be careful with whatever things you're doing on the Psy-Net because there's a wolf in the barn,
Right. Yeah.
Hey, I think he says
since the only character we know that's in that building is Enrique, it's fairly obvious.
I mean,
that
okay.
It is him.
I think there's an argument to be made that it could have been her mother.
I guess, but it's very gendered in the way that they talk about the serial killer.
Definitely.
So it would have been a real big bait and switch that I think we would have all been mad about because we talk about him throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, and maybe the scent was a him scent. I don't remember. Okay, then she hacks the Psy-Net. She does a big meditate on her bed, and she hacks the Psy-Net. And so she's going to do a shadow hack where she leaves like a figment of her imagination in her brain, and then she sneaks out a back door, and then she gets onto people's brains, and she goes around. So she finally ends up on this other counselor's brain. And the counselor's like going about his daily business. "I'm a counselor." And she Tweedledum follows him into a restricted records area. And she's like, "Oh, Humpty-Dee, I can go get my family records. Here I go. Beepity boopity bop." And then she gets out with him and then beep boop, beep boop, beep boop. It's time for him to go to a meeting. So she boppity beep boop boops into the meeting, the meeting place.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. I don't know why you stopped.
Boy, was I on a roll. So then we get this whole meeting where we find out that the council does know about this particular serial killer and
49 others. Yeah.
And she finds out that not only do they know about it, but in a lot of cases they rehabilitate the lowly ones. But then if they're cardinals or powerful ones that they need to anchor the Psy-Net or something like that, they just provide them with low-key victims.
Yeah.
People nobody will care about. Holy ballsack.
Yeah.
So this is a doozy on her,
She hates it.
Hates it.
Also, her mom's at this meeting.
Oh yeah, her mom's leading the fucking meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And she does find out that they don't know the identity of this particular serial killer. And the council is also looking for him. So she beat Boop Bop Schmerps out of his brain back to hers. Takes her a couple of hours. Yeah. And boy, is she tired, Z's.
She's sleepy.
I mean, I get it, you know? Oh, wow. That was so many notes. I wonder where I am now. You know, what's funny? There were no beep, boops, or bops on my notes, which
I'm certain there weren't. There also aren't any in the book, friends.
No, but really, though, the way that the Psy-Net is described and, like, the detailed world building that happens in this chapter was riveting to me. Oh, my gosh.
Very good. So that evening,
he calls her. He leaves a message and he's like, hey, Sascha, super worried Z's, come to our last meeting place. And Enrique finds her at the front door of her house, her room. And he's like, we should go in there right now and we should have some alone time, you and I, to discuss things, matters, important things alone. And she's like, have to go, meeting time, can't, counselor, bye. And it's a dangerous move because he did make a direct request from her. And normally that's not okay. But now what happens, Erin?
Doesn't she go over there and then she, like, does find out about, like, his family background from Tamsin?
Yeah.
And, like, what had happened was, like, people then, like, took his parents and they, like, tortured him and his parents.
They were rogues.
For information. And then they ended up killing his parents,
and
but not
tortured
him.
him for 4 days.
So he's, like, he really hates it when, like, the people he loves die and he can't save them because he was too little to do anything about it because he was only 13. So Tamsin's very like, hey, because what's her Schmurf is thinking about doing is that she'll just, like, go into the Psy-Net and, like, hack it big.
And be a bait.
And just be bait. And, like, she'll try to think like a changeling so then he'll be attracted to her and then everybody will see him and then she'll just fucking cut herself off in the Psy-Net and then she will die. She'll die.
She has to die.
Because they're going to figure out that she has all the emotions anyway, so why not go out her way than somebody else's way? And Tamsin's very like, hey, that's a bad idea, because he hates it when people he loves dies.
Yeah.
And
Tamsin's
he loves you.
particular request is don't let him be the one who anchors you, because her whole thing is, I need a changeling to be connected to my brain while I'm in there. Because I need to feed whatever information I get directly into that brain. Because if they catch me, I'm going to be rehabilitated and I won't have time to verbally tell you. And if they don't catch me, I'm going to cut off from the Psy-Net. And she does not tell him, however, that she's going to die.
Right.
He doesn't know this yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tamsin's like, I need you to not make him the anchor because he can't watch another person he loves die.
Right. So then there's, like, this thing where they're, like, she's gonna make, like, a diversion. Do we go over to those wolves yet?
No, we fuck. We bone. We do a bone.
So now
there's the sex time.
So she's just, like, laying in the bed.
She's wearing his shirt.
His t-shirt.
It's the only smell that will pacify him.
And it's on TM.
It's a big on TM. He comes in and he says, I want to be naked under those covers with you. And she says, oh, is that how you talk to all the girls? And he says, only girls that already know my body and my soul and my whole being. And then she finds out that
those dreams were real.
Yeah.
Admit it to my face. Yeah. And she's like, ah.
She's like, oh my God, I don't know how I did that. And boy, they do. She does like a lay on her back blowjob.
Yeah.
And then he does a go down on her from behind.
Wait, before she does the lay on her back blowjob,
sure.
He does ensconce her wrists with his hand. In a way, because he wants to do stuff to her and doesn't want her to do stuff to him.
So what does she do, Erin?
And so he, like, pins her down and he's like, mine. And so then she gives him, like, a mind hand job.
She does a brain handy.
Like, she reaches out with her mind hands and does squeeze him. It is the Heaving Bosoms' first mind hand job, and it is so far my favorite of them.
Oh yeah,
fantastic!
It is one of those mind hand squeezes. It
is a mind hand squeeze. He loves it.
Bit of a mind hand caress.
The verdict is positive.
Oh yeah, into it. 10 out of 10. Can't get enough of it.
Then she slides down and does do the
lay on her back blowjob.
The blowjob.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he does go down on her.
And he goes down on her
and he laps at her with a cat with a bowl of milk, which I didn't love.
We can skip it. Yeah.
A lot of cat analogies in this sex scene that some worked, some didn't for old Erin. Then he
pulls her up
like another time.
They do doggies. He pulls her up and he says,
style.
I'm so sorry I'm going so fast, but I have to be inside you.
Also, I'm not human, so I can go, 7, 8, 9, 10 times before I'm even sleepy.
No worries.
So, and it's good.
Wow. It's good.
Yeah.
And then, so she comes.
Yeah.
So she comes doggy style, and then he flips her around. He's sitting on his knees, and he does a sit on my lap with your legs around me, and I'm gonna fuck you that way. And it's just so that he can watch the fireworks in her eyes while he comes.
Likes it when her fireworks go off in her eyeballs.
Wouldn't you? You know?
I guess. I don't know. I think I might be a little creeped out by it. Anyways.
Wow.
Okay, so then the next thing that happens is they go visit those wolves because the wolves think they might have a good way to make a diversion in the Psy net so that when she does her big sneak and big bait, they can divert it.
Yeah.
And it turns out those wolves have a bunch of Psys over there.
They got some.
And
they got some.
They've had Psys the whole time that they've been like, oh fuck this Psy. They have Psys all over the place over on wolf grounds.
Yeah.
Night dancers. They have Psys. Snow
dancers.
Here's the problem.
Snow knights.
Snow dancers should be the leopards. That's the problem that I have with this. That's why my brain won't do it. Because there's snow leopards.
Yeah, that's
snow
true.
Things. Snow dancers. Dancing seems to be a much more like cat-like thing.
It is quite.
And then they're like the night farmers.
They're the. Yeah, I think that's it. Night farmers. They're the dark lakes.
Dark night.
They're the dark creekers. They're the dark rivers. The dark rivers?
I used to live with a small boy who had his lizards in my house, and the lizards were named Nightcrawler, and Nightwing. And if I got them confused, it was the worst.
That's
and
right.
so I'm really having a lot of
anxiety,
a little bit of trauma reaction to this because I don't want a 10-year-old to yell in my face about it. Nightcrawler and Nightwing. No, Nightcrawler's wrong. I don't know. One was Nightwing, and I just remember being like, it's a lizard. It doesn't even have wings. Anyways, okay.
So they go into
they've got those Psys.
They go into the wolves' cave. Those Psys. They think they're dead.
The Psy net, they think they're dead. The Psy net, they snipped it from... They undid themselves from the Psy net, and they're okay because they made their own little mini network.
They made a network
with their own brains.
Yeah, but the adults have to always make sure that the kid brains are corralled because the kid brains naturally want to connect to the Psy net.
Right. It's like when your phone has heaving bosoms and then just automatically connects to your Bluetooth in your car and just starts playing.
It wants it.
If they let down their guards for any moment, all of a sudden these kids are going to link up to the Psy net and they're all going to get murdered.
And then a gas station attendant is going to hear us talking about clit slapping. That's not a thing that can happen.
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
But the reason that they did this was because their whole family has a lot of what they find out later are E-Psys or empath size. And so
there's Taka size.
Right.
And there's Fleur size.
There's size.
M size. Yeah. There's E size. What could E stand for?
What is it?
E. Aaron? Could it be?
Aaron size.
It wasn't.
Is it electrical size?
They thought it was emotion. And I was like, you guys.
It's an elephant
empathy. Anyway, so she finds historically before they stopped feeling emotions, there were E-Psys.
Right.
So she thinks she's one of those, maybe.
Yes. So she's like, great. I can do this Psy-Net thing. I'll get rid of my Psy-Net connection and then I'll link up with you guys. And he's like, I'm really sorry. We cannot open our closed network because the kids... we give them a millisecond and they're going to be on the Psy-Net and everyone will know we're alive and then the Psy will never, ever, ever stop coming for us.
And I was just like, kill those kids.
Right. Kill them dead.
Because this is a world solution. I would just maybe kill those kids.
Right.
Just kill those kids.
just get that done. Put it
We're
on your
talking about the end of the world here.
And then check it off.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically this is when what's his fucker.
Here's the thing, I wouldn't have killed those kids, but I just feel like it should be discussed. That's all. No, I wouldn't have.
The world is not gonna end. Just Sasha's gonna die. You're gonna kill kids over Sasha?
But if he kills that other wolf girl, if he kills that wolfy girl, then the wolves are going to lose their shit and they're going to attack the Psys, and then the Psys are going to attack back, and we're going to lose hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, and mostly children, because the Psys are going to murder all the children. So if we run out of time, all the children are going to die, including these two. So maybe it should just be on the table.
But Sascha is going to die before that happens. Sasha's going to give him the info, and then she's going to die. And this is where Lucas finds that out.
Great. Okay.
Anyway, so he's mad. Ooh, he's big mad.
He doesn't like that she's going to die.
Yeah, he's decided that she is his mate.
Yeah.
He's told her that, too. They're mates now. He marked her. Oh, my God. He also bit her during their sexy times, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then she comes downstairs for breakfast. He's wearing, everybody can see the actual bite marks on her neck. And then he's wearing a short sleeve shirt, and everybody can see the claw marks down his arms because she lost her shit mid-orgasm.
They're like, no one has yet mentioned the screaming last night.
She's a screamer.
Oh my God, sex that inconveniences the elderly.
Yeah. Well, I think all of the elders are actually
a whole
with the
family
away.
Can you imagine just like staying with your boyfriend's family and just screaming your face off all night?
It's like half the pack who's there.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Wowza.
Wow. At least there's no children.
At least. Jesus. Okay, so he finds out he's mad. He's like, no, you're going to link up with me. And she's like, I can't do that because it'll just slowly kill us both. You don't have enough psychic energy to keep me going. I'll just kill us
like
both.
If she cuts the thing and then she's linked to him, she will just drain his life energy until they both die. And then he's like, but that would keep you alive like 3 more days.
Yeah.
Like he's the worst. Worst.
He's in a mate situation. He's in an early mate. They're doing the mating dance, as Tamsin says several times.
If you are willing to die so that I will live 3 more days, you are not my type.
Nope,
I don't want to be with anyone that irrational. Sorry. No point.
So they get back. This is where they talk about the Eve situation. And then Tamsin is like, hey, girl, I think it's because you do all of this emotional work. The rumor among the healers is that there used to be a Psy who could heal the soul. Like they could take away all of the bad energy and pain and feelings and filter it through themselves and not be harmed by it and leave the other person with a little bit more peace. And she's like, oh my God, that's what I've been doing unconsciously the whole time.
To Dorian over there. Yeah.
And she's been doing it to Lucas. She keeps on just like doing out her feelers and being like, look through your emotion, take away your emotion so that you can see this. And he's like, oh my God, look at me making awesome decisions.
Yeah, but he's not.
Well, so they're doing more mating dancing. There's a lot of mating dancing back and forth. And he's like, you need to just accept the mating so that it'll click into place or something.
They do a lot of weird sex stuff in front of everybody. Like a lot.
What?
When they should be looking for a serial killer. When they're doing like they're pushing each other around and jumping on tables and getting into arguments where they're like biting each other and then kissing each other hard and then like throwing each other against walls. Which is, it's all great.
Right.
But I'm just like, your auntie is here.
Yeah.
Like, can we calm the fuck down just a smidge? We're looking for a serial killer, guys.
Yeah, I don't remember why that happens, but she's like, look, I'm strong or something like that.
Because
and he goes
she went into the sign out without his permission and he was pissed at her.
Oh, yeah. And so she's like, look, I'm going to push you with my teeny tiny telekinetic powers. And then she does jump on that table.
I can squeeze penises and I can also shove people.
That's right.
These are the things I can do. All right. So here's the end, guys.
Yeah, this is the end.
Here's what it is. So she does the thing that goes, I don't know why I volunteered to do it.
Listen,
here's what happens. Signettes. No. And she's doing. I'm doing it. She's doing the bait. She's having a lot of wolfy thoughts.
God damn it!
And then all of a sudden,
she can't override him. He is the person she's connected to, and they're doing a big snuggle on the couch while she does this Signet situation.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So she does do that. She's sitting in her brain. She has to literally leave her brain while also leaving her core soul inside her brain. And she's got her shields up and shit. And then she does think those thoughts outside. Thinking to changeling thoughts.
Changing thoughts.
The other Psy who are outside, they do a bit of a diversion. They're going to create the diversion.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she feels a malice and an anger and it's far away and she doesn't know. And then poof, right in front of her face, Enrique's there. And he's like, hey, girl.
And he's like, hey,
what are you doing?
I've noticed you have perfect thoughts that I love.
I love your thoughts. I must
think
murder
so
them.
much like a changeling. I have done a lot of experiments via changelings, ladies, and to figure out how they think. And she's like, I would very much like to speak to these changeling ladies that you've done experiments on, because I also have been curious about changelings. And he's like, they did die during the experiment.
It was a very taxing experiment.
A lot of lab rats do die during experiments.
And meanwhile, while this is all happening, he's building this wall around her mind so that he can crush it telekinetically.
Yes.
And he can murder her dead if he decides to do this. Meanwhile, there's a piece of her consciousness is out in the Psy-Net, just like hanging out in the breeze. So she's trying to talk to him while like sneaking back to get back to her core soul, because if he captures her outside of her thing, she's never going to be able to get back to her body.
Right.
And it's a bad. So she gets into the side door, and he's like, oh, you've been hiding here the whole time, huh? And he's like building the walls, and he's doing a squeeze. Oh, he's squeezing it. And he's squeezing. And she's like, Lucas. It is this man. It's Counselor Enrique.
It's Enrique the whole time.
And then just in the nick of time, she cuts that thing, and she gets back to her body.
And she's dying.
Oh, she's dying now.
Because she does die because of how she's no longer connected to the thing. And she won't connect her brain to him, because she knows that if she does, then he will die in like 3 days, because she will siphon off.
Even though she promised she would. And so he does this thing where he's like, no, fuck you. And the mating bond snaps into place because his panther has come out.
She does die first. Her face goes slack.
I feel like that happens, But his
panther, she does die.
Come on, man. But his panther decides that she's his mate.
Yes. But she does die, and at the moment of death is when it snaps into place.
Oh, that's right, because the panther roars. It's so mad.
Yeah, you're right about the panther.
Thank you. And that's when it happens, because the panther and the man are like in sync again, which also fucks me up, because she didn't have any say in the mating bond snapping into place. He was like, you need to decide. Turns out, no, it was his fucking panther that was holding things up.
But I think, like, her heart had to decide, too.
Yeah,
like,
her heart totally decided when she decided to sacrifice herself for his life.
You know what? She probably had already decided, and it was just the panther. And he thought that she needed to decide, but really it was him holding them back.
You're completely right. Whoa. So then he feels down that mating bond, just like Resand, and he's like, sure, send the life force. And he's draining himself, and he's starting to turn into a mummies.
And then she's like, no, I don't want your life force.
And he's like,
I'm smushing it in you. You have to have it.
I'm gonna kill myself even faster if you don't connect our mind parts. And so then she does finally connect their minds, and she's like, no, I'm gonna kill you. The pack needs you.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't live without you anyway, so I'll be useless to the pack if you die.
Yeah. So then it's like 3 months later, and they're like, why haven't you died? I guess I was strong enough.
No. So then she goes into his... Did you read it? Or is it an epilogue?
The epilogue?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Tell me about it.
So here's what happened. So she's like, what's happening? You're not drained at all. I feel...
That wasn't in the epilogue. That was at the end. It's like 3 months later, and they're like, why are we alive, though?
Oh, there was no epilogue then. So she goes into
an epilogue. I know, I saw it, and I didn't read it. But she figures out that it's because his mind is connected to all of his family members.
His sentinels.
Yeah, and so it's not actually just his, because he shouldn't be powerful enough to keep her alive. No. It really is a network, because families are linked in that way for changelings.
And it's even more beautiful.
And then there's an epilogue, and I don't know what's happening in the epilogue.
It's even more beautiful. I would have read the epilogue. There's no epilogue.
There is. It said epilogue on it.
Hold on.
And then I didn't read it. Like, I made a conscious decision to be like, nah.
Okay, chapter 26. There's no epilogue. Chapter 26. Now it says, now available from Berkeley Sensation. And it's like, Faith Nightstar of the Psy Clan Nightstar. There's no epilogue.
There's an epilogue. I'm looking at it right now.
What is it?
It's going to take me a long time to forgive you. Sascha wanted to cry in joy. We've got together. Next, we've got forever. Next page, epilogue. It says, they held a meeting of the Sentinels in Tamsin later that week. The leopards were sprawled out in the living room of the lair, some seated, some standing. Blah, blah, blah.
Oh, I see that now.
Well, you guys, we don't know what happened.
No, I do know what happens. You're right. I remember the epilogue now. I read it. Oh so God. Basically, when she does this, she finds out about the network. She goes to the Panthers and or the leopards, and she's like, I want you guys to consent to be in the network. Otherwise, I can cut our tie. And she expects a few of the Sentinels who are extra independent to be like, yeah, I don't want you in my brain. But she's like, I can't go into your brain if you don't give me permission. You're just sort of feeding me life force. And then they all accept, and then they all leave. I think one of them maybe does her a little bite. She does a little bite on her. Also, she does kiss Dorian on the lips in the last chapter. We forgot to tell them about.
She did make out with Dorian, which I'm like, then make out with Tamsin.
Do it now.
Do it now.
For me. All right. I loved this book hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This thing was action-packed and so fun.
I don't think I loved it as much as you because I grew to hate him throughout the book.
Me not.
But
not me.
It was a good book.
Good book. All right, Erin.
Good book.
What's your lady love?
I recently found out about clothing items that are heated that you can wear, like vests and gloves.
Okay.
Did you know about that?
No.
There's clothing items with battery packs that you can wear.
Wow.
That heat you up.
I mean, you got me these little heater magoos.
Yeah, like
my
those.
Hands, but they plug in.
No, yeah, there's some that have batteries.
Whoa.
That's the end of it.
That's your lady love.
Yep.
Man, you know what my lady love is?
What?
Ginger snaps.
Oh, I love a ginger snap.
Boy, did I forget about a ginger snap. Man.
They're the best.
And Stouffer's makes these like bag of ginger snaps that's like, they're teeny tiny little ginger snaps. They're like the perfect size. They're like the perfect size where you can just like shove them at your kid and not worry that they're like eating a whole cookie, you know, because they're so small and the cookies are small enough. Man, are they a yum, those ginger snaps. Wow.
Yes. You know what ginger snaps are good with?
What's up?
Do you remember that Dunkaroo dip that I made that I told the podcast about 3 years ago?
Yes.
Ginger snaps with those.
Oh, shit.
Very good.
Yeah, because that would, the Dunkaroo dip would really do wonders with the heat of the ginger that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Yeah. Wow. All right. We're changing lives, Erin.
Yeah, changing lives. Definitely. All right.
You can find us on all the places.
Heaving Bosoms Podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah.
Heaving Bosoms at Heaving Bosoms on Instagram. At Heaving_Bosoms on Twitter. That's all of them. Then if you go on Facebook, the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult is our Facebook group. We also have a Facebook page that you can like and get the same posts that you would get in the other on the Instagram, but the Twitter is different. Sometimes we put out a hot take on the Twitter that isn't going to appear anywhere else. But the Instagram is important too because you can find videos on the Instagram that you're not going to see on the Twitter.
Yeah.
You really need all of them.
You do. There's animated videos, you guys. They're amazing.
Oh God, beloved Mary makes them for us.
HB Mary.
And so then if you go to the website, heavingbosoms.com, that's where you can find our merch. That's where you can find Patreon. You can find episodes, the rest of them from Crash Landing on You and all the other good stuff. And the HB Reading Embrace is there.
Yep.
So all the stuff.
So go follow us. We'll see you soon.
Do it.
Okay.
Keep being a badass.
And love yourself as
much as you love, like a psychic HJ.
Oh, yeah.
HJ from a
one
psychic hand.
Getting your dick squeezed by a mind part.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Hey HBs, I've got a podcast I think you'll love. In the Babysitters Club, Jack and Tanner are two men in their 30s who took it upon themselves to read every single Babysitters Club book in chronological order, or as they call it, the Sitter Cycle. After finishing all the books in the series, plus all the spin-offs, the boys have turned their focus to classic babysitting books and movies like Adventures in Babysitting, and will soon be diving into romance. What can I say? They were understandably inspired after reading Tessa Dare's The Governess Game. Listen along each week as Jack manages to find allusions to biblical allegories and world literature, and sentient purple orbs that may be influencing the lives of the Babysitters Club girls in unseen ways. Tanner, on the other hand, likes to focus on the hidden lives of the Babysitters Club ghost writers, carb-heavy conspiracy theories, a particularly hilarious number associated with sex, and author Anne M. Martin's peculiar fixation with bees. Find the Babysitters Club on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and everywhere else. And don't forget, Claudia's wearing a bra now? And the way she talks, you would think that boys had just been invented.
Hey, you. Yes, listener, you. Are you loving the show? If so, please leave a rating and review in your podcast app. The 90 seconds you take to say something nice not only helps new people find the show, but it makes me super smile over at HBHQ. Also, I've had a few people ask, and the answer is yes. We are still doing the 5-star bribe. If you leave us a review with 5 stars, then we'll do whatever book you want. We're real deep into the list, though, so it might be a while. Lilas! Okay, back to the show.